Hello, 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 ENTV. It's Michelle Boshard, the natural entrepreneur. How are you? It's been a hot minute and Happy New Year. It's so great to be back with you today on another episode of the Natural Success Clinic. Last year, we did 12 or 13 episodes of Natural Success Clinic, and you can find them in the ENTV guide section under guide number 1. And what we did last year was fantastic. We actually had a number of you from the community here in and interviewed. And what I did was I interviewed multiple online entrepreneurs about how their offer was naturally successful. We went through their their free offers, their low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket offers. We took a look at their natural offer ecosystem and how they had developed the way that made sense for them to work online as entrepreneurs. Then we took a look at how their technology lined up in terms of how it was supporting each of their offers and the options that you could do for different types of things. Not everybody loves to podcast. Not everybody likes to write blogs. People prefer to have online courses. So we really dug deep. And so I encourage you to go into last year's programming in the guide section for 2024 and take a look, because every single episode was a brilliant kind of like expose on the inner workings of online business and how you can structure the ecosystem function of your offer, your natural offer, to work for you. And so there's a lot of resources there. Last year's learning unveiled a lot of things about what the common themes were amongst online entrepreneurs. And so this year, because we've taken a look at in 2024 at a number of different types of online businesses, in different sectors and different products. I decided this year that I wanted to take a new tack for the Natural Success Clinic for 2025. And so instead of taking a look at offer stacks for each client, and kind of, I think you can probably see as you take a look through the episodes that there's some common themes. And we took a look at, the 5 major areas that really impact your business and that you need to have clear. Your very strong why, like your purpose, soul driven, passion-based reason for your feet to hit the ground every morning when you get out of bed. And then we talked about how clear your offer is, whether whether it's your freebie Costco sample or your low or mid to high ticket, how clear it is, how well it's positioned, and all of that. So you have your why, your offer, your marketing, how your marketing is done, whether it's across, automated across all socials, whether you've got the right target audience lined out for yourself, all of the pieces of marketing, including the administrative piece of actually, spending your time on socials every day. Sometimes that can be a black hole that you don't really want to get into. So how to handle that by using tech and automating, or when to use a VA, all of those questions. So we did your why, your offer, your marketing, how your sales were going, and how you were going to manage your sales, how good you were at bringing people, enrolling them into your offer, or how not to feel slimy about it, the mindset around sales. And then, of course, how effective your delivery was. So what we're going to do this year is, now that we learned what the common sort of things are, the 2025 year is going to be lined up around taking a look at some of the more juicy bits about, and working with entrepreneurs who have been there, done that, and succeeded, about how they have solved the problems that came up in the sessions in 2024. So tomorrow, we had planned on having Alan Muelleger here today. I think he may still try and join if he can. I've got him in here. If I can get him in here, I will. But Alan was actually on the Natural Success Clinic last year. And so if you look under guide 12, you will see his session there, and he's an emotional fitness coach. And I just wanted to tell you about him because in his unique offer was around emotional fitness. And he has been inspirational in the sense that a lot of people with wellness offers or offers that are kind of experience based, you have to kind of like be there to get it. You have to kind of, spend time explaining what you do. And sometimes it's not very concrete and people don't get it. So it's a little bit harder to sell. And so what Alan had done in terms of his offer was develop an entirely innovative way without being salesy or pushy to serve people genuinely from your heart. And he is now teaching people how to do that for their hard to describe offers. Yeah, we're very excited, and we'll see if he can join us here shortly. But he's having a 2-day event, and it's going to be tomorrow and the next day. So I'm going to drop the links below, and you can check that out. We might have a little bit more from him in a bit here, but his journey as a social entrepreneur is very interesting. He's a dynamic, wonderful, oh, look, I think he might even have joined us here. He's a dynamic, wonderful, person who has a ton of experience, and he's the man himself, Alan Muelleger. How are you?
I'm
You're
good. How
live
are
in bit
you?
of ENT. I am so good. We were just talking about you. I was just explaining how Natural Success Clinic has shifted. And last year we were doing all these offer ecosystem assessments, and you were on last year in episode 12 under guide 1. And we showed people how your offer was built. And you told us a little bit about your journey and what you do as an emotional fitness trainer. And now you're going to come back, and you and I have worked on a system
Yes.
that's going to be demonstrated in an event tomorrow and the next day. And
Yes.
we were going to talk today about your journey as an entrepreneur and how hard it was for you to sell your online offer as someone who was like sort of a not a woo woo, because you're not woo woo, but you're like, it's hard to describe. You have to like share the space. So welcome. Tell us about you and what you do, and then let's talk about your journey for sure for a few short minutes before we get into talking about what you're going to do tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Yeah. So, I'm happy I'm here. So I'll go into my own journey with this being an experience-based entrepreneur. So when I say experience-based entrepreneur, what I mean by that, just to be clear, is that you do something, you do something that is an experience, whether you yourself are an experience, as in like you show up in a room and the room changes. If you've ever gotten that feedback before as an individual, or the work you do, you can't describe it. Like example, like somatic therapy is something that's really difficult to describe to anybody. It's like you breathe and then
Yeah.
you feel uh emotions and then they well up in your stomach, but then they kind of come into your chest, and then you got to make sounds. You got to yell really loud. And then sometimes you cry though and you don't yell, and by the time it's over you feel really good. It's very difficult. Exactly. And then now buy my stuff, because it's good, I promise. Like it's hard for someone who what you do is an experience.
And many of the people that were on the Natural Success Clinic last year had that problem. And guess where the trend was when we looked at their strong why, their clear offer, their marketing, their sales, and their delivery? Sales was where they fell down. Like, I want to say maybe 7 times out of 10, sales was the hang up for people.
Yes.
And that's why I love what you do, because tell us about your journey and how you dealt with that. Like
Yes.
and what you've packaged up to serve for people.
Yeah. So for me, what the biggest thing that I was struggling with, so for me, I consider myself an experience-based entrepreneur, in the sense that for me, what I do, you gotta be in space with me to get it. Like, because I've tried so many different ways to describe what I do. I've called it mindset coaching, I've called it purpose coaching, I've called it alignment coaching. No one, excuse my French, no one gave a shit. Like nobody cared. It's like I help you find your purpose, which you would think that would be like such a thing. Like for me, it is. It's like if someone said, I'm going to help you find your purpose in life, I'm like, wow, that sounds great. I'd love to know that. But most people, it's just like, It's like I don't think that's true. I don't think it's accurate. And most of the time, it's because people's belief about purpose is aligned with their belief about dreams, and most people have given up on their dreams, they've given up on their purpose. But in neither here nor there. So when it comes to this process for myself, I've had this huge struggle of I'm trying everything I can do to articulate what I do in a way that makes sense, and it's not working. And that was the advice I was being given by every single business coach. Like it wasn't just me. I was talking to experts and they're like, "Well, what's your promise? What's the pain? What's the all these things?" And they were all saying like basically what I was being told was if you articulate it well enough, then people will want to buy your stuff. And I'm a very articulate person. I care about the words I use, and it wasn't working. So here I was. I had left. I knew I had something because I've been coaching since 2016. So I had been coaching in various forms for a very long time, and I was working for a coaching company where they helped on fitness professionals move their fitness businesses from in person to online. And they had brought me on as their head mindset person. And I'd been there for about a year and a half. And the people I was working with were getting really extraordinary results over and over and over again. But what I started to notice as a trend was that I wasn't doing anything that I was told to do. I was doing by the company. I was doing what I felt naturally called to do. And most people, I had people say, "Oh my God, I want to quit my business and I want to go do something else," which is not what you want when you're a big company that is trying to keep people in their businesses. You don't want people all of a sudden saying, "Wow, my business is a lie. I need to go do something else," because then all of a sudden they stop paying you, right? So for me, it was like I noticed I kept guiding people more towards these three little ingredients that I talk about all the time now, which is who they truly are, why they're actually here, and how they're meant to bring that to the world. It consistently would come up. And so I started to do this enough times that I started to see the trend in front of my eyes. And I'm like, I'm going to try to do a test event. So I did a test event. It went unbelievably well. So I decided I'm going to jump ship. I'm going to do my own thing because I'm seeing with my own eyes a transformation that's happening every time people come in space to me. This is going to have to work, right? Now, thankfully, because I built a lot of clout in that space, the first 3 months went fantastic. I made $40,000 in 3 months. I did very, very well because people knew who I was and they wanted to get up and sign with coaching with me, which was great. However, after my clout ran out, after my previous experience ran out, and that the buzz of "Oh, Alan's doing something new, right? The newness wore off, the shininess wore off. It was complete crickets. I didn't sign a new client in 3 months. So you'd be surprised how fast $40,000 can go away, especially when you believe it's going to keep coming and it doesn't. So it was like, oh shit, I've got a problem. And so
Right.
I'm trying to articulate it in 100 different ways. I am posting literally 8 times a week. I am messaging people all over the place. I'm doing reels. I'm doing regular posts. I'm doing things on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, everywhere. Nothing. And literally I thought to myself, oh, maybe I just need to do something that's viral. It's the people who make shit that's viral. That's the ones that are going to make it. So I just got to be viral. And then I had a friend who is a TikTok expert. He's like, you can't just decide to go viral, Alan. It takes time. It takes effort. And I was like, watch me. And so I literally went out and I made a video that got 500,000 views. And I was like, I've made it. And guess how many clients I got from that one video of 500,000 views? One. One. 500,000 people saw my face and heard my pitch, and they were like, I think I might want to work with you. One person. Now, granted, I love that person to death. They're fantastic. They're one of my favorite clients to work with. But it was like this thing of like, oh my God, it's
That
not.
that's not a sustainable business model that's
Yeah,
gonna, sustain your
yeah, 500,000 to one. That's not a good conversion. I'm gonna run out of people on the planet pretty soon if I go that route, right? So I'm like, this isn't gonna work. So I became stumped because I'm like, how the heck do I get people? And so what I started to run into out of desperation, I started to run into the same thing that everybody runs into, which is use this manipulative shortcut marketing strategy. Use this manipulative sales strategy that gets people to buy your stuff. But here's what I didn't like about either of
or
those strategies.
aggressive or like
Something.
push.
Here's what I didn't like about those things. What I didn't like about them is that they would funnel if you get really good at marketing and really good at sales, the issue is you bring people into your coaching practice that don't need to be there.
Right?
And
And
that
I know you're all about service. Like
that's
the whole thing for you is that, and actually I think here in ENTV as well, like people are service driven. We're done with sort of the just the sales for no purpose, and we want to like actually make impact
yes,
and connection.
yes,
And so how do you like how when you make those sales where you've basically kind of like forced the square peg into the round
yes,
hole, and it doesn't fit with you and it doesn't fit for them, and they don't
yes,
get the juice out of it, like
yes.
so how do you change your sales strategy? So that's what you started to work on, right?
Yes, that is exactly what I started to work on. And so what I wanted to say there, but right before and I will hop into the strategy is that I was literally working for a company that they were the best at marketing, the best at sales, but they had an 85% failure rate of clients doing the program as a result. Why? They
Yeah,
cared
that's not
more
good.
they cared more about getting people in the door and taking their credit card than they did of actually serving them. And what it created was not just dissatisfaction on the mass customer side, it created massive problems and dissatisfaction for the delivery side. People were, because it's hard to work with people who it's not the right fit. So I was like, okay, how do I create a system that I don't use manipulative marketing, I don't use manipulative sales, and I'm only working with the exact right people that I'm supposed to be working with because it is the exact right fit every single time.
Well, and the other piece for me at least, in the sales process is like that they don't that they're choosing, they're leading the decision. We talk about masculine and feminine energy in sales and that driving masculine force versus the attract and receive of feminine, right?
Yes.
And how can we be of service while we're selling? I know Dean Graziosi talks about all the time about that sales is service because you're connecting people with the service that they need, and so you are serving them. But I think that there's a step further than that you address that he doesn't. That it's the piece around that I have to want what you want. Like
Yes.
I have to want what you
Yes.
have, and
Yes.
I don't want to like as someone with an offer. I don't like force it down someone's throat. I want them to be asking me for my offer. I don't
Yes.
be like pushing. I can put out materials and attract, but I don't want to be like shoving stuff down people's throat. And
Yes.
and what I and especially love about the model that you've done is the how your service come out. So talk a little bit with me
Yes.
about how or what you're going to tell us in the next couple of days at your event
Yes.
that makes it different from the sales pitch of, oh well, what's your goal, and what's your
Yes.
barrier, and like, oh well, I happen to have a service for that, and here it is, and
Yeah,
here's the
yeah, yeah.
description, and like that just formulaic crap. And when
Yes.
instead of listening to someone who has come to you because they're in your bailiwick and serving them with what they need so that they want to get with you, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's something that I call the service conversion method. So the entire training that we're going to be doing tomorrow and Saturday is a heavy deep dive into the service conversion method, how to use service itself as the method of converting someone as a client. So this whole process was designed for a whole bunch of things. One, it was designed to make sure that there's no manipulative marketing, there's no manipulative sales, there's no getting the wrong person into this space, but also it was designed to protect someone's sovereignty. What do I mean by that? I mean protecting someone's ability to decide for themselves what they're going to do. So as an example, one of the tricks in sales is to use questions that corner people into only one answer. So they can only answer a certain way. For me, every single question that I ask in the service conversion method is an open-ended question, meaning it gives them complete sovereignty to choose whatever they would like to choose. It's like example, one of the questions is, where would you like to go from here? That's one of the questions of whether you're going to move from
And
one
that's
place
your
to the next.
closing question.
Right. Where would you like to go from here? It's not a question of like credit card or debit card. It's like it's not that kind of a system. And so essentially what it was through a lot of trial and error of being obsessed with, I'm not using any of that shit. Like I'm not going to use any of that stuff I don't want to use. So how do I use service? What I ended up creating was a formulaic process of making sure that you can serve people in such a way that you're solving a specific type of problem for them while providing them specific type of solutions in a specific order, such that they become very aware of what you do from a heart-centered place.
So this kind of I mean, and there's certain like hard products that like the other sales, we shouldn't like totally slag sales, because like there are times that clear, this and this, do you want this or not, like, and kind of like that approach of whether this widget fits that whole, like that sales process can be useful. But for the folks who are like, well, like you say, experience based with wellness providers or other kind of like health oriented, or those kinds of categories of online entrepreneurs, yeah, even midwifery, or like things that are a little bit not tacked down, right? That this process can really work for them, and it's going to be 2 days where you take 3 hours each day the next 2 days,
Yes.
and you're going to lead them through also some clarifications about how to make sure that they're on point with their marketing and their sales, which is in Natural Success Clinic we talk about the clarity of why and your offer and
Yes.
that sort of thing. But then you go into the specifics of how this particular formulaic structure that you've managed to develop for those undefinable things can serve people to the point where they're like, yeah, and when you ask them, where do you want to go from here? They're like, well, I'm taking my credit card and we're going now, right? Like that's the difference. And that place can be so hard for people to get to. And I remember, like, yeah, I don't know, we didn't talk about the stages of really of the journey of your entrepreneurship, but like for me as an online entrepreneur, there was sort of the stage where, I had just started, I'm just trying to figure out, what I'm selling, like what, exactly how to package it up, go from like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing to my first sale, right? That's something in my natural entrepreneur program. I have an offer crafting coaching program for 8 weeks, and you guys can go see that at Natural Entrepreneur. And then there's sort of like the other stage where you have you've managed to get your first couple sales, but you're hitting kind of a glass ceiling because you only have so much, you can only carry so many clients, and you haven't figured out how to do one-to-many service, or you haven't figured out how to like scale it all. But you're needing some efficiencies, and you need your tech to come in. And so I actually have a 12-week to 6-month program that builds out people's offer ecosystem into the tech, and I build it for them. But then there's the sort of like the third, that's my co-creator program. The third one though is when they're sort of fully formed already, they're needing to scale, and they started to scale, they need their audiences and everything built, but and maybe they even have like a huge audience, like you say, you have 500,000 views. Maybe they even have all their tech and everything's fast and they can process things, but the issue is the conversion, that you still aren't converting. And so you guys, if you've been struggling with this, we're so excited to kick off the first episode of the 2025 year of Natural Success Clinic with Alan here and telling you about this. But I want you to go to this event tomorrow and the next days. And you don't do recordings on the events, do you, Alan?
No, I don't. So this is a live experience. So there's been this like, oh, can I have the recording? And it's like, no, you can't. Who the heck is going to watch a 6 hour thing? It's just not going to happen. The vast majority of people that I send this to, because it's two things, right? One, it's 6 hours. The way to experience this is to be there. The way to experience this is to be there the whole time, because it's not just trust. I promise you, if you haven't been to an event with Alan Muelleger yet, it's not your average Zoom call. This is not a thing where you come and it's like Alan's got a clipboard and he's got his pen and he's like, and this is lesson 1, and it's going to be super boring and a pain in the ass. There's movement, there's participation, there's breakthroughs. I'm working with people in real time. I'm finding blocks. We're working
and on their stuff. Like you don't just like listen and go and apply it. Like we actually do workshop stuff.
We work on people's businesses in real time. You are not going to walk away from this training without a significant jump in your business. It's just not possible. And so there to be there, it's like if you're not there, you already lose the element of not being able to be in space where I can call on you and we can work on your business. You already lose that bit. So your brain's already going to start disengaging because it's like, oh, I have no hope of my business being intimately worked on. The second thing that starts to happen is people typically watch it in chunks. They'll go, okay, I've got 6 hours of this training. I don't have 6 hours right now, it's 3 hours and 3 hours. I don't have 3 hours to watch this right now. So I'll watch 40 minutes right now. And then I'll watch 40 minutes the next day. And then I'll watch 20 minutes while I'm driving. They're never here, they're never present. And so all the information, all the experience, it's missed. And so I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing these recordings and sending it out. It's just not going to happen because again, for me, as you said before, service for me is everything. Service is what I live and breathe. There's a desire. One of the core hearts of this method, the service conversion method, is a profound obsession with service, a profound obsession with service. And it has to be, and the kind of the secret sauce. I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview here. The secret sauce to this method is to shock people with how much you serve them. Here's the truth. In the world today, there are so many coaches that are trying to sell their services. Now, this is not a bad thing necessarily, but the truth is we live in a very saturated market of a lot of people trying to make a buck because for a long time, the message that was given over and over and over again was make 10K a month online, make 10K a month online, be free, work from the beach, travel over the world, right?
Laptop lifestyle, right?
Right. People were being sold the idea of becoming a coach, which is a very sacred profession. They were being sold that idea not based off the impact they could make, but based off the money and the freedom they could have. And so you have a lot of coaches who are not, I'm telling you, this is a huge differentiator for you in the marketplace. A lot of coaches out there who are not obsessed with delivering powerful results. They're obsessed with how do I close somebody now because they need to, because they whatever, right?
And get people through the system efficiently. There's your stuff, you okay, did you like, yeah,
Yes.
losing the, you were talking about before about losing client satisfaction or losing clients altogether after they've enrolled.
Yes. And so that whole thing, it's like if you are obsessed with service, absolutely obsessed with it to the point where you're like, I'm going to deliver at the highest possible level, no ifs, no buts, no exceptions. What happens is you completely separate yourself from the sea of coaches out there that are not thinking about service or thinking about the money in their wallet. And so I'll give you a really fast example of how this was displayed right in front of me, that it was a powerful example. I was doing a training that I do. So part of the service conversion method is I want to serve people in as many ways as I can. Okay. And so I was serving somebody in a free training that I had. And the entire time, you have to understand, I'm a cis white male who has lots of energy and lots of enthusiasm. Okay. So there's already, you come on screen with me and someone's like, what does this white guy have to teach me? It's a whole thing. Okay. And I know that's a part of it. We're in that kind of a world today. So this person comes on, I'll never forget it. The whole time, arms are crossed. And when I asked her questions, she was like, it was a yes or no question. I get a maybe. I was like, do you enjoy serving people? Yes or no? Maybe. We'll see. Was just skeptical the whole time. Okay.
Armor up. Yeah.
Big time. Armor up the whole time. But why? Because this person had been in hundreds of different trainings, hundreds of different spaces with super high energy coaches and people who are enthusiastic, all because they're trying to get you to buy some shit that you don't actually need. And so she was in that space of just like, I'm going to be super this. So she goes through the whole training like that and was intrigued by my energy and was like, okay, I think I want to book a service call with you. I think I want to hop in that space. So we hop into a service call. In the service call, which is the intention is to just serve the heck out of someone. She's like this, but kind of curious and kind of this and like maybe possibly. So we hop into a decision call, which is the decision of whether or not we're going to work with each other or not. So we go from a service call where she's like this and she goes to the decision call. And I shit you not, on the decision call, this person instantly, she got it. On the decision call, she is holding arms like this. And at some point it clicked for her. She's like, oh my God, this guy is real. He actually cares about service. And I never forget it. Her shoulders dropped, her arms dropped, and she was like, I want to work with you. It was that fast. It was because she needed to know that I was real with the service I was providing. And it's like, and I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah. And she had this whole moment where she was getting teary and she was like wide-eyed. And I was like, yep, I've been here the whole time. I just knew we had to break through some barriers. It's all good. I'm super excited to work with you. She became one of my best clients. So this method can take people who are hardened and skeptical and turn them into someone who wants to work with you and is excited to be your client. Now, there's one thing that people worry about when I talk about service, which is a lot of experience-based entrepreneurs, what they do out of desperation is they go through this round of, I'm just going to give everybody free stuff. So they go free, free,
Right.
free, 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 free. And
I have given away more
yes, and it
than I
becomes
care to admit.
and it becomes exhausting. They're like, well, what am I supposed to give away the world for free and get nothing back in return? No, the universe is built in a win-win architecture, meaning the way things are actually built in this world, it's in abundance, it's in win-win. And so if you are giving and not receiving, there's something broken with the system you're trying to participate in. And so with this particular, but I'm not saying give away a bunch of stuff for free for the sake of it. Okay, there are specific things that are built into this entire training, specific things that are built into this entire method that are designed to have you give a lot of service, but significantly protect your time and energy so that you are not over giving and over serving. One of the messages that's been really touted inside of the personal development industry today is you gotta know your worth, know your value. You can't undervalue yourself. So you have all these people who will just charge 10K for their services because I'm worth that much, but they don't actually question whether or not they are providing a
Well,
service that's worth
and
it.
one of the things that we saw a lot on Natural Success Clinic last season when we were going through, programming and talking about pricing and how to do that was if you do know your worth and you set your price high, you have those problems. If you don't know your worth and you have imposter syndrome and you don't know, you kind of just like are trying to get people interested and you're kind of just like giving yourself away. That's the other end of the spectrum that isn't healthy either. And what I love about the service conversion method is that it holds you up and it holds the client up.
Yes.
So I want you guys to check this out. We will put the link in the comment. Are there any closing thoughts just before we have to go here? I've got a couple of other things I want to announce, but I'm just so
Yeah.
excited, Alan, that you're going to come. Tell us anything last thoughts you want to share.
Yeah, the last thoughts I have is if you've resonated with anything that I've shared with you throughout this entire time that we've said in this time, I just highly encourage you to come. It's 3 hours out of your day tomorrow and 3 hours out of your day on Saturday. I know it's a big commitment. I know it's a lot of time, but I promise you that in that time, the intention that I have is to serve your pants off. Because here's the truth, right? If service is the key to this method, which it is, I need to set an example for you. You need to see what it is like to be served at the highest level in order for you to have success. I don't want you to fail in your business. Hear me now. My mission on this planet, one of the missions I have is to help experience-based entrepreneurs make their jobs, their passions, their full-time income. Why? The world is in a very hurting place right now. There was a with the whole just one thing like with the war in Ukraine, how what's happening there. So you little people know this. Ukraine is the breadbasket of Africa. And so normally in Africa, they're at risk of about 30, it was 30 million people are at risk for starvation in Africa per day or so or per month. There was some stat, like I can't remember the amount of time, but 30 million per a certain amount of time. What's happening now because of the wars in Ukraine, it's something now close to 350 million people are at risk of starvation because of the stuff that's happening in Ukraine. And nobody knows about this because the news isn't going to talk about it. So understand that there are huge problems in the world right now, massive problems that no one's talking about. But there's a huge wave of entrepreneurs. By the way, this is really cool. Tony Robbins and a bunch of other people, they've gone and banded together to go and feed a bunch of people who are having that issue. So the truth is that entrepreneurs make the difference in the world. And the particular type of entrepreneur that makes a difference in the world is an experience-based entrepreneur, the people who want to heal people's hearts. And so for me, there's a bigger calling than just trying to get you to buy shit. There's a calling for me to help you get your stuff out to the world because the world needs you. So if you resonate with anything about this, click on the link, get into the training, let's hop into it. I'd love to serve you.
Awesome. And I love that, especially because as a natural entrepreneur, entrepreneur who's a digital doula helping people, you know, their mission technician, building the thing that's natural for them. Your heart and your purpose is the reason why you're here, why you're sharing, why you're connecting, why you're joining the Bump Network, and that why the world needs you. And so if we can help you, and Alan, this is completely free at what Alan is doing. He literally is just serving you. So I would love for you to come. And I want you to check out the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much, Alan, for being here. And I want you to also keep in mind the Natural Success Clinic is going to be on regularly in 2025. Next week, we're going to have Nicola Torres talking about self-care. We're going to have Adam Gaskell, who helps nonprofit creation happen when you want, as a social purpose entrepreneur, to bring your business to serve in a philanthropic way. We're going to have Body, Mind, and Soul guests who Lorna Gale and Adriana D. Marvel, who are members here in ENTV and who have worked with Alan. We're going to talk about this, how to apply things like these events to helping your subscription community. We've got all sorts of aspects of natural solutions to natural problems that we saw all last season in Natural Success Clinic, and I hope you'll join us next time, and come to the event tomorrow. Next day, I'll drop the link in the comments. Love you guys. Hope you have a great day. And yeah, see you soon. Hope to see you tomorrow on the event, tomorrow next day. And we'll see you soon on Natural Success Clinic. Because when you're a natural entrepreneur, you're a natural success. Love you guys. Bye.